Coming up on Carolina Week, reactions to the election. One person says there was a big change on campus. Issues and updates with Carolina's limited campus housing. And following devastation in western North Carolina, students are telling us how to support local businesses this holiday season in the impacted areas. Welcome to Carolina Week. I'm Anna Cater-Meyer.
Samantha Hoffman. Carolina Week spoke with several young voters about the presidential and local elections. This week, our reporters Landon Job and Mason Wagner following up with these young voters to see how their opinions have changed following Election Day. Some issues with that video, but some of the words that we heard from these students. One student said that if you asked 25% of this campus, they wouldn't even know there was an election this year. So as you can see, there's a lot of mixed emotions following this election. Now on to our next story, though. We have that political groups across campus are also reacting differently to these election results. Democrats had several local and state victories while Republicans won the presidency and the Senate. UNC College Republicans Administrative Vice President Preston Hill says on election night they celebrated at 2 a.m. and that their first post-election meeting was on Monday. We reached out to UNC Young Democrats as well, but they said that they aren't at capacity to respond. Cassie Rice, chair of the Orange County Democrats, says that they haven't had a meeting since the election, but they need to do a lot of listening to move forward.
I think the long term is building up our community, reaching out to those who we historically have not done a good job reaching out to, and just showing up in the community.
Even since the election, we've seen a lot of people want to join our club who may have felt like they didn't necessarily want to take a side before the election.
A Latinx advocacy group is now working with members of their community to help people better understand their voting rights. This comes after a referendum was passed in North Carolina changing the words on the NC Constitution about who can vote. The Constitution previously stated that every person born in the U.S. and those that have been naturalized have the ability to vote. The referendum had changed this to say only a citizen of the United States can vote, eliminated the term naturalized citizens. The referendum didn't change the rights of voters, but Ileana Santillan said that she's part of El Pueblo, said that this change can cause issues for voters in the future.
It doesn't really change anything right now. It just creates confusion for one, for naturalized citizens who are like, wait a minute, like, should I vote? Can I vote? Blah, blah, blah. And then number two is like, it just opens up the door for additional changes, to be enacted like down the road, which is, pretty scary.
The referendum was passed 77% for and 23% against, with Durham and Orange counties being the only to vote against it.
And new bond referendums have been approved by voters in Durham County and also in Orange County to help renovate roads, sidewalks, and parks. Our own Bethany Pryor is currently live in Durham to show us where some of that money from the bond will go. Bethany, what are you seeing out there?
Anna Cater, I'm here at Merrick-Moore Park, where $85 million was donated through the bonds to make a new aquatic center. Now, these bonds were voted both in Durham and Orange County, but Durham County, it's for the parks, and Orange County, it's for a lot more. But as you can see behind me, there's going to be some athletic facilities up here. There's a soccer field, there's a playground over here, and over here there's already some greenways and walking trails, but the real action is across the street. Across the street, we can see that they've already started construction for this new aquatic center. You can see it says across the street, City of Durham Park in progress. They were really on top of it and got the ball rolling with this construction. So they're already started construction at Wheels Fun Park in Durham, which used to be a skate rink and a go-kart place and a lot of arcade games, and inside there was a park, but now it's going under construction to be this new water park. But in Orange County, the bond referendum is going to be used $300 million for the education system. New schools are going to be renovated and built. 600-person elementary school will be built with this new money that's through the bonds. In Chapel Hill received $44 million through this bond. $15 million will go towards affordable housing. Another $15 million will go to renovate 2 fire stations in Chapel Hill. $7.5 million will be used to renovate the streets, and parks in Chapel Hill will receive $4.5 million. Now, just like here in Merrick Mill, where the parks are being renovated. Now, across the street, Wheels Fun Park was once a very lively area for this community. It closed in 2020 because of different reasonings, but the park is being renovated in part hopes to reduce the crime here in Durham, but also to give kids things to do and to hopes to bring life back to Wheels Fun Park with this new aquatic center, and they're going to be updating the skating rink as well. Back to you, Anna Cater.
The man accused of 12 random shootings in Raleigh will appear in court again on November 27th. Andrew Thomas Graney, a 23-year-old from North Carolina State University, was charged with assault with a dangerous weapon on Friday after he fired 7 shots into cars on I-40, 1 into a car on Jones Franklin Road, and also in 4 houses near the interstate.
Graney was taken into custody on Thursday, as well as another person who was released later that evening. The second person's identity was not released by the police.
And coming up on Carolina Week, updates to Carolina housing.
A loss for the Carolina community, remembering Hae-Mang Ocean Wang.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. The death of a UNC freshman has left many in the Carolina community heartbroken. It has now been more than a week since 18-year-old Ocean Yang passed away unexpectedly. While his friends say they are still struggling to make sense of his death, what they know for sure is he was a friend who always uplifted people and who will be dearly missed. I talked with one of his fellow students in the UNC Anchor Dits program who told me although he didn't know Ocean for very long, this is something he never expected to hear from one of his friends. He said that Ocean was a track star and an inspiring artist in the Anchor Dits group who he was sure had a bright future within the organization. I also talked with another one of his friends who was in one of the art classes with him who said that he truly was such an inspiring artist, and you can even go visit one of his paintings that he made here in the Haynes Art Center on campus. She said he was one of the most kindest souls ever, and his legacy will forever be left here at Carolina.
I know that we will be thinking about Ocean's friends and family. So many comments that we heard of people just constantly saying how friendly he was and compliments he would give them no matter whether they knew him or not. So all thoughts going to that family. Now, there's some people that you might want to be keeping in mind as we approach the holidays. Western North Carolina businesses are looking for some help as you shop locally. They say there are some local businesses that even if they are not open, they actually have online stores ready to be selling once again. Some of these include in Asheville, there's Pearl Yarns Emporium, Bee Charmers Flavored Honeys, or French Broad Hot Chocolate. If you're looking for something bigger, there's even vintage clothing at Hip Replacements Gifts. Rudy's Antique Furniture has some great renovated furniture, and you can also buy artwork from Asheville's gallery online. Boone also has some great gems for the holidays. There's gift board games from Dragon's Den, coffee from Hatchet, household gifts from Cabin Fever, or even an instrument from Kudzu Music. Chef Katie Gowan told us that this support is necessary to keep these businesses afloat and told us to consider how much it'll mean for each owner.
And back here in the Triangle, we've been getting some chilly temperatures recently. I know this morning I had to put on my heavy coat, which is very unexpected. But I know there's some information here outside. We can see that the sun is setting in and it may warm up later this afternoon. Sammy, what do you have to say about this forecast? I know you were probably cold this morning too.
Yeah, I called our meteorologist, Megan Giller, and she told us that there's some cold air coming in from the north. Now there's going to be cold air on today and tomorrow. Tomorrow there's going to be a 90% chance of rain, so be sure to grab those umbrellas. And Friday we're going to get back up to the 60s, and I'm so glad that by game day weekend we are back to sunny and hot temperatures, so we're going to have a fun game day on Saturday.
Some students are having a hard time finding a place to live because of the expensive rent and the time needed to find a house or apartment off campus. More than 1,100 students were left on the housing wait list this year due to off-campus housing being limited and expensive. UNC junior and former App State student Megan Patton said housing at App State was much easier and finding cheap, close housing to campus in Chapel Hill is very difficult. Stephen Wiley, the Director of Administrative Services at Campus Housing, said that they have raised the cancellation fee and shifted the process of room selection to accommodate more students for on-campus housing. And coming up on Carolina Week, we've got another busy week in Carolina athletics, right, Spencer?
That's exactly right, Anna Cater. It's tournament time in soccer. We've got basketball highlights, and some pretty impressive performances this season have earned a few Tar Heel athletes some national attention. We'll tell you all about it right after this.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. Sports Extra Spencer Haskell joins us now with everything going on in Carolina athletics.
Thanks, Anna Cater. We'll start over at Dorrance Field, where after falling short to Florida State in the ACC Championship game on Sunday, the 16-5 UNC women's soccer team received a #2 national seed heading into the NCAA tournament, keeping their perfect tournament appearance streak intact. And this year, the Heels are one of 9 ACC teams to make the tournament field. Offensively, Carolina will continue to lean on star forward Kate Fossey, who leads the team with her 16 goals on the season. And on the defensive side of the ball, Trinity Armstrong was a fixture all season for the Heels, being named first team All-ACC alongside Fossey. And in net, Claire Gagne finished the season with 57 saves and 9 clean sheets. She'll look to keep it going for the Heels when they face off against USC Upstate in the first round at Dorrance Field on Friday night at 6. Now, after opening up their season with back-to-back home wins, the UNC women's basketball team traveled to NC A&T last night for their first road game of the season. The Heels started off slow, Up only 3 after the first quarter, the Heels were finally able to generate some offensive momentum in the second after this Alyssa Utsby layup, which sparked an 8-0 scoring run. And despite several offensive missed opportunities, Carolina entered the locker room with a 35-21 halftime lead. And in a back-and-forth third quarter, Grace Townsend and Sierra Toomey led the way to keep the Heels in front. And in the fourth, it was all Layla Hull, scoring 11 of her 14 points to salt away a 66-47 Carolina victory. And from the court to the course, UNC women's golf star Megan Stryker has been named to the watch list for the Annika Award, given to the top player in women's college golf each year. Stryker is already the program's all-time leader in scoring average as a junior, and this season, she's well on her way to break the single-season scoring average record as well. She finished in the top 4 in each of her 4 starts this semester to finish the fall season ranked 13th nationally. And keeping it in the fairways, this time on the men's side, senior standout David Ford was named to the Haskins Award watch list, which is given to the most outstanding men's college golfer each season. The program's all-time leader in scoring average finished the semester with back-to-back wins to propel himself to the top of the PGA Tour U rankings and is also on pace to break the single-season scoring average record. Now, after his unforgettable performance at Florida State last game, this should not come as a surprise, as on Tuesday, UNC running back Omarion Hampton was announced as one of 16 semifinalists for the Maxwell Award. Given each season to the nation's top college football player, Hampton sits just shy of 1,200 rushing yards on the season to go alongside his 13 rushing scores. He ranks 6th in all of college football with 130.9 rushing yards per game and has totaled 100 yards on the ground every game this season except one. Finals will be announced on November 26th. Tune in to Sports Extra Friday morning at 11:30 for a preview of what will be another action-packed weekend in Carolina athletics.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm Anna Catermeyer. Right now, we're about to toss the weather, but first, let's take a look on what's going on here on campus outside. Right now, we're seeing bright sunny skies with a little bit of shade. Students are hopeful that today and the rest of this week will be bright and sunny and warm. Right now, we're tossing over to Sammy, who's got more on the weather. I'm sorry.
Hello. Unfortunately, we still don't have the weather quite up yet. Please manage with us as we kind of figure out the screen. But as Anna Cater mentioned, we are starting to see the sun come out, but don't let it fool you. It actually is pretty chilly today. We're peaking at 59 today. That's going to be around 3 p.m. And I'm not sure if it's going to be work out, but I can kind of walk you through what we're going to be seeing this week. As I mentioned before, we're having cold air coming down from the north. Apparently, this is the first time that we've had these cold temperatures since March, which is crazy. We've definitely been feeling it this fall, but today and tomorrow definitely on the cooler side, even Friday in the 60s. But then by Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be warm once again, just in time for game day. Cannot wait. It's going to be higher 60s and sunny. So excited. Now, before you go into the day tomorrow, be sure to grab that umbrella because it is 90% chance of rain. But after that, we can enjoy the warm weekends. Back to you, Anna Cater.
Thanks, Sammy. Sammy mentioned game day was this Saturday, but first we have a game day Friday as the Carolina Tar Heel basketball team takes the court. And we also have another interesting story about a former UNC basketball player. After retiring from the court, UNC's own basketball alum Hillard Green was the first person you see when you enter the Angus Barn. Now, Green played basketball at UNC from 1954 to 1956, and now he uses those talents to create smiles among the guests at the Angus Barn. Green's impact on the iconic restaurant in Raleigh goes beyond greeting the guest. He also made some of the tables used in the dining room. His woodworking talent extends to his love for his teammates. He made each one a frame out of the floor from the Woolen Gymnasium. UNC basketball used to play there. Green is grateful he can still make an impact on the Carolina community. And now, as I said, I'm super excited. We have a game day this Saturday, but for basketball is Friday. So that's very
still,
exciting.
I love when we're kind of in the in-between season that we can root on both basketball and football, though I think a lot of people have kind of given up on football this year.
Sadly, I'd say so, but maybe we'll get a game win this Saturday. We'll see.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see more of that. And I love that story. I love Angus Barn. I grew up in Cary, and so we would go there for special occasions. As you saw in that video, it's such a beautiful space at the holidays. Have you ever been?
I have. Actually, my cousin had his graduation dinner there last year around Christmas time. It is just so beautiful. I'd love to go again, but I know it's so hard to get in around the holidays.
Yeah, it's definitely a place to check out, though. Well, thank you guys for joining us on Carolina Week, and be sure to tune into Rise and Shine tomorrow morning at 8:45. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next week.